Once upon a time in the quaint, verdant town of East Lansing, there lay a grand institution by the name of Michigan State University. It was a place where dreams were supposed to take flight, where young minds were to be nurtured and grow. But alas, my tale is not one of triumph, but of a profound and chronic melancholy that settled upon my heart like the morning mist upon the campus' once hopeful lawns. It began on a day like any other, as I approached the hallowed halls of MSU, my spirit brimming with the naive optimism of youth. But as I stepped through the gates, it was as if I had entered a realm where joy came to die, where the very air seemed thick with the scent of broken promises and shattered dreams. The university, in its infinite wisdom, had seen fit to cast aside 5 psychiatrists, just as the academic year was to commence. Firing 5 psychiatrists right before school starts is disgusting, I whispered to myself, my voice tinged with the sort of disappointment that only betrayal can bring. It was a decision so calloused, so devoid of empathy that it sent a clear message. The well-being of students was not a priority at MSU. As I wandered the campus, my despair deepened. The sprawling labyrinth of roads that snaked through the university was a veritable labyrinth, a maze designed not to guide but to confound. Driving on the MSU campus was akin to navigating the river Styx, each turn bringing fresh torment, each traffic jam a small death. 20 minutes of pure, unadulterated panic, I muttered, my hands trembling at the wheel. That's all it takes to understand the vehicular chaos that reigns supreme here. My heart ached as I recalled the plight of a dear friend whose beloved pet was struck by a sudden ailment. We sought aid at the university's emergency vet clinic, only to be met with greed cloaked in the guise of care. To charge $7,000 for a surgery that could be performed elsewhere for a mere $1,500, I scoffed. It's nothing short of extortion. The university's disdain for its community was palpable, its avarice as clear as the noonday sun. It was in the classrooms, however, that the true rot of MSU became apparent. The professors, those learned individuals entrusted with our education, were not the guiding lights we had hoped for. Instead, they were harbingers of dogma, eager to indoctrinate rather than enlighten. I sat in the back, my presence unacknowledged by the sea of faces that surrounded me, as the words of Ron Fox echoed through the hall. To harass and belittle students for daring to think differently, I lamented, is the antithesis of academic freedom. The tales of Mary Keyes, whose vitriolic comments on social media betrayed a soul consumed by hatred, only served to deepen the wound. Her presence amongst the impressionable youth of MSU was a stain upon the institution, a stark reminder that sometimes the greatest threat to our well-being comes not from without, but from within. My own experiences were a testament to the university's contempt for those who dared to differ. As a student with disabilities, I found myself navigating a world that seemed determined to thwart my every step. The timed tests, the scarcity of proper desks, the lies from professors who denied the possibility of accommodation sit was a relentless barrage, each refusal to adapt a dagger to the heart of inclusivity. The campus itself, once a symbol of unity and camaraderie, had become a battleground. The students, wild and unruly, moved through the grounds with a ferocity that belied the institution's noble ideals. Rude staff and unwelcoming atmospheres, I sighed. It's as if
The businesses circling Michigan State University feel like they were all designed by the same committee that forgot to invite competence, honesty, or a working clock. You will walk into places that look pretty on Instagram, but inside they run on a currency of disappointment. Malls where the asphalt looks like it has been shelled. Salons where your haircut arrives only after your dignity has been amputated. Clubs that charge diamond prices for plastic cup beer and then unplug the music 25 minutes before closing, as though the DJ suddenly remembered a bedtime story. Every register is hungry, every manager is hiding, every promise has a half-life shorter than the receipt ink. If you need a shopping center, Eastwood Town Center will greet you with Moon Crater potholes and a Dick's Sporting Goods, where, according to one visitor, a stranger in the parking lot threatened to ban him from the store as though the parking lot were some kind of kingdom. Inside GameStop, they apparently run a bait-and-switch seminar. Advertised prices disappear at the counter. And when customers complain, security gets called as if curiosity were a crime. The cinema screen crops the film so aggressively that you pay $12 to watch a movie that feels like it is peeping at you through a mailbox slot. The management phone just rings into the void on Sundays, so if you hope to buy a gift card, bring a lawn chair and a Zen mindset, because nobody is coming back to you. If you want to look human while studying, Douglas J. Institute will happily schedule you with a student who has never met hair before. One woman asked for a soft, shaggy bob and left with what she called a choppy, too short, uneven bang mess. She spent the next season hiding inside her house like a witness in protection. Another client wanted platinum blonde and exited with lavender roots, a red scalp, and the sensation that her reflection had been replaced by a meme. The instructors drift in only after the nuclear fallout, check a single foil, then ghost away, leaving the student to ask other students for advice, like a hospital where the interns perform surgery on each other during smoke breaks. They will overtone, undersupervise, and still charge near-professional prices, because education, apparently, is no longer included in tuition. If hunger strikes, Sansu Sushi greets you with a wait so long you could finish a semester before your salmon arrives. Reservations mean nothing. 7 o'clock becomes 8:30, while empty tables stare at you like sculptures forbidden to be touched. When food finally appears, the rolls are sometimes shaped like geometry homework. Giant triangles you have to negotiate across communal trays, as if dinner were a team-building exercise. The appetizer shows up after the entree, the waiter evaporates for 50-minute cycles, and nobody offers to comp a single grain of rice for the 3-hour hostage situation. People drive away with $100 of cold sushi after an hour in the parking lot, discovering their spicy tuna has become room temperature grief. Coffee should be safe territory, yet Foster Coffee Company locks the bathroom as if it were a VIP lounge and charges admission. The coffee itself tastes like someone washed the beans in dish soap, then served them in cups the size of toy teacups for $7 each. The croissant has the structural integrity of a paving brick. The breakfast sandwich features 3 transparent sheets of bacon that look like they were faxed into existence. Staff stand in gossip circles while the line curls toward the door, and if you ask for soy milk they reply, "We hate that stuff," as though your dietary need were a personal insult to the barista's mother. Nightlife means Rick's American Cafe, a basement where time forgot not only the calendar, but also the concept of value. They collect a $20 cover in cash, hand you a plastic chalice of domestic beer for $8.40, then spin a playlist that sounds like a middle school dance in 2010. At 1:25 a.m., the music dies, lights blast on, and you are herded out wondering why you paid $20 to be expelled from a concrete cellar before last call. Bartenders allegedly add mystery charges to cards, bouncers mistake themselves for feudal lords, and the crowd is a volatile mixture of cologne and elbows. One DJ reportedly told a patron he smelled Mexican and then tried to start a fight outside management. When contacted, shrugged so hard the phone vibrated. Need a gift? Clever Clover sells adorable candles and rings that turn your finger green within 24 hours, like a mood ring that only signals betrayal. Staff will accuse you of stealing incense while they scroll TikTok behind the counter, then scream across the sales floor as you try to leave, turning a casual 4-pack of scented sticks into a public. You know, it's really sad when you hear about people being taken advantage of, especially in a place like East Lansing, near Michigan State University. It is supposed to be a hub of learning and growth, but instead, there are these stories that just make your heart sink. So here's this one story that came up, and it's like really close to Michigan State University. There was this homeowner who got an email that looked super official, you know, like it was from the planning department. The email said they had to pay almost $5,000 for some review fees. Can you imagine? It is such a huge amount, and it is so scary to think that someone would use the city's name to trick people like that. I can't help but think about what the homeowner must have felt. They were probably really confused and scared, thinking they had to pay this huge amount of money. I bet they were really relieved when they found out it was a scam. But still, it must have been a really stressful time for them, you know? And the scammer, I don't know, it is like they have no conscience. It is wrong to take advantage of people's trust. The city had to step in and warn everyone about these fake emails. They were like, hey, we would never ask you to wire money, which is really responsible of them. But it is just so disheartening that they even have to say that, because someone out there is using the city's name to do bad things. It's kind of eerie to think about what would happen if a tourist got one of these emails while they were visiting for a couple of weeks. I mean, they're here to enjoy the campus, the lovely parks, and the vibrant community, not to deal with scams. It's just not fair, you know? They're already spending money on their trip, and then they have to worry about stuff like this. And then you wonder, what about the scammer? Do they get caught? I like to think that they do, that the authorities find them and they get what they deserve. Because it's just not right, taking money from people who work hard for it. It's like, how could you do that to someone? It's just so wrong. I hope that by talking about these things, we can all be a bit more aware and take care of each other. It's really the only way to combat these kinds of scams, by being informed and looking out for one another. So, if you're ever near Michigan State University in East Lansing, and something seems off, like an email asking for a lot of money, just remember to check with the real city folks, okay? Let us not let the bad actions of a few ruin the